Good morning. Welcome to this Editorial Edge edition of 6th of September. My name is Bhuvan Jha. On the agenda today, we have three topics. Number one, the TOPS scheme. Recently, we had the Indian men's relay team that did exceptionally well in Budapest. Okay, came second, broke the Asian record just behind the United States. And now, yesterday, it was announced that the Indian men's relay team has been now included in the TOPS scheme of Government of India. So we will seek to understand what is the TOPS scheme, what is Mission Olympic, and which are the sports, what are the type of sports forms that are included in the TOPS scheme. Okay. Thereafter, number two, we will take a look at the Gujarat Declaration. Recently, a major meeting was held in Jamnagar, Gujarat. Okay. And that has to do with, again, integrative medicine, traditional medicine, and the whole ambit around, say, traditional knowledge and the rights of, say, indigenous people. So we'll seek to understand what exactly happened in Gujarat and what is the Gujarat Declaration all about. Okay. And thereafter, the third topic that I have for you is the Black Sea Grain Initiative, which has been in the news. Okay. Most of you must be aware of it. We'll seek to quickly revise it because, again, yesterday it was announced that Turkey, again, the original, say, a negotiator of the Black Sea Grain Initiative, is now again working to revive this particular initiative. So it's only important for us to quickly go back and revise the Black Sea Grain Initiative, the Black Sea, and say the different questions that arise out of that whole region. Okay. All right. So that's my agenda for the next, say, 40 odd minutes. Bulbul, Catherine, Ashlekha, good morning, guys. Thank you for joining. What I'm going to do is quickly discuss the questions of yesterday. All right. Because yesterday we discussed many important topics. Meanwhile, before I start my class, I must thank all those of you who have been kind enough to send me messages and emails yesterday on Teachers' Day. I remain eternally grateful to you for your encouragement, your support, your love. And I hope that together in the run-up to, say, 2024 Prelims, we will see a lot of success and a lot of learning. All right. So again, the names are too many, but I will thank each one of you personally. You must have received my email or response to your message already. But once again, thank you so much for your encouragement. All right. Okay. Let's begin. This is my Telegram channel. You can connect with me here. This is my email ID. If you have any particular questions related to, say, a strategy or geography, environment, international relations, CSAT, those are my subjects of interest and expertise, in fact. So go ahead, connect with me if you have any questions in those subjects. Whereas this is where you're going to find the PDF of this particular lecture uploaded at around, say, noon. All right. On weekends, I also upload questions, videos that will help, clear your concepts. So just a couple of days ago, I had shared a video on Coriolis force. And well, if you see that video, it's absolutely simplified for you. Okay. So go ahead, connect here. It's a place of learning. I don't really usually spam here a lot. Okay. No motivational messages or here, this, that nonsense. It's complete only focused on, say, just the outcome-based learning that we always focus on. Okay. Jerin, Coder, Pranjul, guys, thank you. Thank you for joining. Good morning to all of you. Okay. All right. So let's look at the questions of yesterday where we discussed, say, the PAL, okay, and the Diksha platform. So first question, adaptive learning relies heavily on data and analytics to provide personalized recommendations. Yes. The keyword here being adaptive, it has to do with, say, adaptation. So which means that the knowledge that you're getting is going to be adapted. It's going to be adapted to your suitability, your learning speed. That's the whole point of adaptive learning. Whereas personalized learning allows you to shape the way you learn. Okay. Do you want, say, more pictorial or video, or do you like text-based learning? The AI model, the machine is going to learn and then produce the kind of content that you want to consume. Okay. Help aid the speed of learning. That's the whole point of a PAL that we discussed yesterday. So here the correct statements being both of the statements being correct here. All right. Let's look at this. Under NEP 2020, what is the target gross enrollment ratio to be achieved? Now, the keyword here being higher education. Okay. In terms of, say, primary and secondary education, primary plus secondary education, the Government of India is targeting 100% gross enrollment ratio. Whereas in terms of higher education, the target is to reach 50% GER by the year 2035. Okay. Now, this is a question straight out of the NEP 2020 document. Okay. This can be found on the PIB website, or if you so desire, I can share it with you on my Telegram channel. Go through it. It's got the point-wise clarifications of what exactly you need to know. Okay. And therein will originate a majority of the questions, again, if they were to be asked in the examination. So the NEP 2020 should remain an area of interest for you. Here the answer being 50% by 2035, which means B. All right. Let's look at this. What is ECCE related to when we talk about NEP 2020? Now, ECCE, first understand that NEP 2020 does lay an emphasis on, say, environmental education and, say, knowledge about climate change. Okay. This is the focus, one of the key areas that remains the target insofar as the information dissemination to a child is concerned. However, ECCE is to do with early childhood care and education. Okay, so this is the answer here. Do not get confused with, say, environment being introduced insofar as the options are concerned. Yes, in isolation, environment does remain a key focus area of NEP 2020. All right, so here in this case, your answer is C. All right. Which of the above explains Vallamkali? Yesterday we discussed Pulikali, the Pulikali dance of Kerala, where you have men and women who dress up as tigers and leopards. Okay, a dance with no rules, a dance that has originated out of the population, their spontaneous emotion towards their deity, right? And so that is the whole point of Pulikali dance, whereas Vallamkali dance, again, these two are the major facets of Kerala that are celebrated during the Onam festival. All right, so you're looking at Pulikali dance, and the next is Vallamkali, which is the boat racing that you talk about. If you have gone ahead and seen videos of it, you'll be seeing it's absolutely synchronized. Okay, many individuals on a boat, and they have one cheerleader or one person who guides and motivates all his individuals. So Vallamkali is to do with synchronized boat racing. Meanwhile, if you're watching this live, quickly let me know, what's the trophy that is, say, to be won? You know, there's a particular race and a trophy is given. What's the name of that competition insofar as the synchronized boat racing during Onam is concerned? All right, go ahead, let me know that in the comment box very quickly. Right, which of the above are harvest festivals? Now, Lohri and Guri Parva are obviously well known. Lohri in Punjab, Guri Parva in Maharashtra. Okay, Chhat Puja. Now, Chhat Puja is essentially to do with Surya Dev, which is essentially the sun god, and Chhathi Maiya, which is the sixth iteration of the god and the sister of Surya Dev. Okay, so in essence, this 4-day festival that is majorly observed in North India, including, say, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, and you have the diaspora now that celebrates and partakes in the Chhat Puja. Okay, this is considered as normally a post-harvest festival. All right. However, in its primary form, it could be considered to be a part of a harvest festival too. Whereas Dasai is essentially Diwali Dashera that is celebrated in, say, the Nepali community. Okay. The Nepali community goes ahead, celebrates it. You have two different parts of it. Okay. You have Bhailo and Deusi. All right. Now, what is Bhailo and Deusi? Please understand it in the simplest forms. Okay. In Bhailo, you have the women folk come and sing hymns and prayers, and they'll come to your doorstep and they'll be singing hymns and prayers and folk songs, regional songs, just to celebrate the occasion. Okay. And at this time, you go ahead and, say, offer them food, money, whatever is your, say, article of faith. Okay. Whereas in Deusi, it is done by the men folk. All right. The same thing, going ahead, singing hymns, prayers, folk songs, regional songs, celebrating the festival. You know, it's a time when communities and people come together. So Bhailo is to do with women folk, whereas Deusi is to do with the men folk. And these are part of the Dasai festival, which is a major landmark for the Nepalese community. All right. Nehru Trophy is absolutely correct, Catherine. Good job. Theek. All right. Let's move forward. So these are my individuals, and for the first time, well, the regular watchers will realize for the first time ever, and this brings a smile to my face, that we have so many individuals who took part in this question answer discussion. Okay. I must thank each one of you. Pranjul, Benihud, Ulfat, AR, Shubham, Ashlekha, Vidisha, Pooja, Tanu, Koder, Karuna, Lekam, Mandeep, Hani, Bipen, your neighbor, Crystal, Aditya, Akshay, Rahul, Ayush, Abhishek and Ronnie. Thank you so much firstly, guys. You know, you will see eventually, if you keep at it on a continuous basis, it will eventually help you a lot. Because current affairs is something that compounds over time. It's not something that you read an article and get the whole gist of it. Okay, that is again, say, the understanding in silo. What you are required from the examination perspective is a comprehensive, holistic understanding, and for that you need to keep at it for an extended period of time. So keep up the good work. And to the rest, well, look at the questions that I have for you today. And if you want your name included in the select list, go ahead and answer those questions in the comment box under the video on YouTube. Okay, all right. Let's begin with the first discussion that I have for you today, the TOPS scheme. Now, these 4 individuals made India proud, came second, okay, and the men's relay team, now you find yesterday it was announced, has been officially included under the TOPS scheme. What is the TOPS scheme? The Target Olympic Podium Scheme. Now, clearly, many a time you must have seen, say, in spite of having a huge, say, population base, our performance in, say, multilateral or multi-sport events has been less than good, okay? And so to change that, in 2014, the TOPS scheme was launched. Now, from a sports person's perspective, guys, okay, since you guys are aspiring administrators and civil servants, here is a small task for you. From the sports person's perspective, go ahead and identify what could be the challenges insofar as a sports person wanting to make it big in a sport, say, other than cricket in India is concerned. Okay, straight away you're looking at the financial stability. That is number one problem. Okay, because, well, investment in sport comes at an expense of, say, investment in, say, studies or skill-based any other activity. Okay, that you go ahead and, say, finally become a major sports person, but your shelf life is narrow. Okay, that you are much more prone to, say, injuries, and a simple injury could possibly end your whole sporting career, which means you need financial stability up until the end of your service life, your career. Okay, so those are the primary thrust points of TOPS scheme, to address those pain points that a sports person faces. For example, right from the basics: food, nutrition, training, coaches, stadiums. Okay, access to all of these world-class facilities are needed if you expect world-class performances, which means infrastructure is to be given. Right? Again, besides the personal bit, these are the problems that, say, a sports person in India normally faces, which hinders their growth to become, say, a world-class athlete. Okay. Now, say for cricket, for example, in cricket, we do have the grassroots system that has developed. You know, you have maidans in Calcutta and Mumbai and in major cities where children come and play throughout the day. That there exists a local setup, a regional setup, and a national setup, which allows the growth of a player right from, say, a local community, a local team, to the national team. Does that same, say, approach exist for all other sports? Not necessarily. This is the vacuum that the TOPS scheme seeks to fulfill. All right, so let's look at it. First, let's look at the relay team, the 4 individuals that made us all proud. Okay, they made history, and in fact, they broke the Asian record, which was held previously by, if I'm not wrong, it was held by Japan. Okay, so the 4 Indian individuals breaking the Japanese record, setting an Asian record, in fact. Okay, now the TOPS Ministry of Youth Affairs was the organization. Obviously, you're looking at sports, which means Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports Development will be the nodal authority. Started in 2014, and let's look at the key point here now. The questions arise from this particular point. What are the high priority sports? Okay, because the whole point is that you're going to ensure representation from the high priority sports, right? So let's look at it. Archery, athletics, badminton, boxing, hockey, shooting, swimming, table tennis, judo, golf, fencing, cycling, and wrestling. Okay, the popular sports are not included in this. Why is that? Because again, for them, all of these problems are taken care of. All right. But in terms of these sports, which find a lot of resonance, say in multi-sports events, say in Olympics or Asian Games, right? You are going to have India compete in these events, in these, say, disciplines, right? And for that, you need trained athletes. Okay. And para-athletes are also included under the TOPS scheme, right? Let's go forward. So now the benefits. Now that I've given you the pain points that, say, a sports person faces. Okay. Number 1, foreign training. Number 2, international competition, because eventually it requires money to get to their competition. It requires visa support. It requires an airplane ticket. It requires housing and lodging there, food there, right? All of that are needed. And for say a sports person coming from a rural area or a rural hinterland, or even from an urban area, someone from a less privileged background will find it difficult to make amends there, right? So that institutional support, that governmental support is the primary point of TOPS scheme, okay? Equipment, coaching, and then the most important part, a monthly stipend of 50,000. See, if the financial stability is taken care of, if the financial stability for a sports person is taken care of, the mind is that much at ease. They can go ahead and train. They can go ahead and partake in whatever they want, right? That is the whole point here. The TOPS sponsored athletes. Now, let's look at the history. 2016 Rio Olympics, 2018 Commonwealth Games. PV Sindhu, Sakshi Malik, all TOPS athletes, right? In the 2016 Paralympic Games also, we have seen the TOPS scheme give us results, okay? So now, in terms of TOPS, there is one concept that you need to know, the Mission Olympic Cell. The name self-explanatory, the cell or a division or a particular department that is going to now go ahead and select all the stakeholders of the TOPS scheme, okay? For example, who are the sports persons who are going to qualify? Obviously, there needs to be a certain benchmark, okay? Who are the coaches who are going to be a part of the TOPS scheme? What is the kind of food, the nutrition, the training, the equipment? All of that eventually has to be decided by an impartial body, okay? And so the Mission Olympic Cell, a dedicated body created to assist the athletes who are selected under the TOPS scheme. You find the Sports Minister of India, okay? The Mission Olympic Cell under the chairperson of Director General, Sports Authority of India. And what you find is that eventually the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, okay, is a key stakeholder in this whole process. Okay, you'll realize that the whole idea of the Mission Olympic scheme, debate, discuss, and decide the processes and methods that the athletes receive best assistance. Okay, so you're looking at whether a person is to be selected or excluded or to be retained. All parts that are required insofar as the composition of a team is concerned, because eventually a sports person's performance is also variable. Okay, it's going to vary. Sometimes they may be hitting the world-class standards and may be on a decline, right? Which means at that time, you're better served giving a chance to say someone who is on the upswing, a younger prospect. You are looking to develop talent for the future, which means you're going to release individuals, bring in more individuals based on the performance that is dynamic. Okay, so these are the primary parts of the Mission Olympic Cell. Now the NSDF, okay, the MOC, by the way, the Mission Olympic Cell, the DG of SAI, Sports Authority of India, is the one who is in charge, whereas the NSDF, the National Sports Development Fund, you find that the Sports Minister is the one who is in charge of this particular, okay, the National Sports Development Fund. So, in 1998, this was conceptualized with the whole point of promoting sports in India. Okay. Now what you find is that all of the TOPS scheme and all of the kharcha, all of the expenses that is part of the TOPS scheme. Now you can straight away go ahead and say, figure that out for me. Okay. Right from say the primary entry point into an institution up until they go ahead and say perform at an Olympic level or at an Asian Games level. All of the monetary support, the financial support, including the stipend, all of that has to come out of a pool of fund. That pool of fund is the National Sports Development Fund, managed by a council constituted by the central government with the sports minister, the chairperson of the fund. Okay, herein is the point for another MCQ. Okay, now ideally, I know this is again a very simple thing to forget. And so from the MCQ perspective, the most obvious will be that the Prime Minister is the chairperson of the NSDF. Straight away, if you see the national word included, a student will be more than likely to go ahead and mark the Prime Minister. Do not get confused. Okay, it's the Sports Minister. Make a note of it, please. It provides them opportunities to train under coaches of international repute. You're looking at support, technical, scientific, psychological, giving them exposure to financial international competitions and financial assistance. Do you see the end-to-end support that is required? Right, the end-to-end support that is required for a sports person so as to enable them to perform at the highest level. You know, eventually, if they are to go perform at a higher level and get us medals, then leads to a lot of institutional support. Now, as I pointed out, that exists for say cricket in India. Okay, that exists to a certain extent, one may say, for football in India. Okay, but to the others, there's a lot that needs to working on, which means that the top scheme and the Mission Olympic cell become of prime importance for our sports growth. Okay. Good morning, Karuna. How are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, Ulfat. Welcome, welcome, guys. Okay. Let's look at this question, guys, and what you're going to do, my dear students, like you have been doing, say, over the course of the last 2-3 odd months. Leave these answers for me in a linear format, okay? And if you want to go ahead and explain your answers, that will also be good, okay? Sometimes the best way to learn is to understand what mistakes you made, okay? Because the mistakes need to be remembered so as to not to be repeated. So go ahead, attempt these questions. Summer Olympics in France. Winter Olympics 2026 in Italy. Okay. Summer Olympics 2028, is it going to be in the US of A? And Summer Olympics in 2032, will we go down south to Australia? Identify the correctly matched here. Next. Which of the above are not included? Okay. Which of the above disciplines are not included under the top scheme? So I have given you a list of, say, around 12 disciplines, okay, that are a part of the top scheme of Government of India under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. Go ahead, identify the 12 disciplines. Let me know which of these is not a part of it. Okay, basketball, football, volleyball, Malakhamb. You will let me know which of the above are not included under the TOPS scheme. Your next question, guys. All the cricket fans who are watching this and who will watch this later. Here is a question for you. Let's test your cricket knowledge now. Kitna jante hain aap? Statement A. Asian Games 2023 will be held in China. True or false? Statement B. Cricket is a part of Asian Games 2023. Now, the regular watchers or the regular followers of cricket will know, oh yes, there is a second team that is probably going to some place. Well, go ahead and figure that out for me. And statement C. India has never won a medal in cricket at Asian Games. True or false? Okay. Who is the reigning holder? If you want to go ahead and add another answer for me here. Who is the reigning gold medalist in cricket? Okay, for cricket at Asian Games. Let me know that too. Who is the one? All right, let me know that too in the chat box, in the comment box after the class is over. Right, that completes TOPS scheme, guys. Make sure that you follow up on this. Okay, this was yesterday. Yes, we had the men's relay team a part of it. And so it's of prime importance that we understand what's being done to go ahead and, say, promote sports in India. You know, Khelo India is one part. NSDF you learnt about. MOC you learnt about. Okay, and TOPS, TOPS, you learnt about. So go ahead and revise it and let me know if you have any particular doubts. My email or my Telegram or my Instagram is always open for you. Meanwhile, this particular course, the Prelims to Interview Initiative, you know, it's one of the most successful initiatives ever by StudyIQ. The number of students that have joined with us, right? The feedback that we are getting, the methodologies that we are employing are working, okay? The students who are already a part of this will tell you this. However, if you're still on the fences, if you still think that the big names are going to get your sailing through, well, good luck. However, if you want to go ahead and prepare in a scientific manner, in a holistic manner, in a manner that befits this examination, go ahead, take a look at the course deliverables first. Don't take my word for it. Take a look at what the course has to offer. Okay. Look at the faculty profile. Individuals who have cleared the examination rather than just, say, appeared for the examination. There's a huge difference there. Okay. So go ahead, take a look at this particular course. The sign up link will be found in the description box, or you can head over to studyiq.com. Okay. 3 languages, Hindi, English and bilingual is what the course is being offered in. Okay. I am associated with the English team. And if you so choose to sign up eventually, and I hope, well, finally you do, then go ahead and use the code BALIVE. Okay. Why? Because, well, you get a good discount. From 70,000, you come back to 29,999. And thereafter, you get allotted to my batch. So we'll have a lot of learning to do together. All right. So go ahead. The last date is fast approaching on the 11th of September. Classes beginning 8 a.m. that morning. Right. Let's head over to Gujarat now, guys. After the top scheme has been understood thoroughly, now let's go over to Gujarat, Jamnagar. Okay. The World Health Organization Traditional Medicine Global Summit 2023. Okay. Traditional Medicine Global Summit being held in Jamnagar, Gujarat. Okay. You had the WHO chief, Mr. Tedros, who made his kind presence available there. And the Gujarat Declaration was, well, released. So what is the Gujarat Declaration? A document that reaffirms the global commitment, and here is it, to indigenous knowledge, biodiversity, traditional, complementary, and integrative medicine. Each of these terms need to be understood. What exactly is meant by, say, indigenous knowledge? Okay. Or what exactly is biodiversity? Well, that's an ENV concept, an environment concept, so not a problem, not a lot of problem there. And then finally, what is integrative medicine? Integrative should give you a fair idea that it is talking about, say, merging or say marriage of two forms of medicine. So we'll seek to understand that very quickly. Okay. The Gujarat Declaration, prime importance, guys, have a look at this. So this whole summit aimed to promote the recognition, regulation and research of traditional medicine as a valuable resource for health and well-being. Essentially, what is traditional medicine? In our childhood, for example, okay, one way is, say if a child falls sick, okay, you take him to the doctor advises a course of treatment, medicines are administered, the child recovers, right? The other way is, and sometimes you must have obviously all at personal levels also say gone ahead and experienced it. For example, in North India, they are called as Dadi Ma ke nuskhe, okay? Essentially, the knowledge that is a part of our society, but has not been formalized as a part of, say, medicinal order. For example, when you get a lot of cold and cough, okay, you will find that a kahda is administered by the seniors of the house. Okay, it will be a concoction of, say, tulsi and ginger and all of those warming things that eventually will go ahead and help you relieve of the mucus formation and say all the bulgum that it is called, right? So what is that essentially? The Dadi Ma ke nuskhe, or essentially traditional medicine that has been a part of our generational, say, order. That information has been passed on from generation to generation, and that's how we know about it. Okay, that essentially is traditional medicine. And what is traditional knowledge then? Okay, so if you must have heard, for example, in the farmers of Rajasthan. Okay, now there is no way for them, obviously, besides, say, institutional support of the IMD and the district administration. Otherwise, how does a farmer know that the rains are to approach, or that the rains are coming, or that it is going to rain in, say, 2-3 days? Say, 100 years ago. No way that a farmer could have got that information. No internet, nothing. How did the farmer eventually figure out that, okay, now is the time to go ahead and, say, till the soil, prepare my soil for the rains that are going to come? Well, a small white-colored, say, insect would go ahead and emerge from the soil whenever it was to rain. Okay, a white-colored insect, right? Now, what was that eventually? That was traditional knowledge, right? There was a scientific basis to it, yes, absolutely. But that knowledge was, say, passed down generations and eventually formed the basis of the farmer's understanding as to when to go about preparing for the harvest season or the sowing season, right? So that essentially, in an essence, with a very easy example, is the difference between, say, traditional knowledge and traditional medicine, right? So let's understand this now. What does the Gujarat Declaration say? It urges the protection and promotion and the rights and interests of indigenous people, because eventually they are the first stakeholders of traditional knowledge and traditional methods of medicine. Okay, that eventually they have all of the information of using plants, animals, products of plants and animals. Okay, for example, I'll give you a small anecdote, right? So in the hilly areas, for example, whenever it rains a lot, and if your say car wiper is not working, there is a particular plant whose sap is put on the windshield that deflects the water away from the windshield. What is that? Traditional knowledge. That the people of that area know that that particular plant sap deflects water. Do you understand that? So that type of knowledge is essentially put, and the owners of that knowledge are the people of that area, the indigenous people, which means that their rights are inherent to the protection of these kind of traditional knowledge. Right? So let's understand what else does the Gujarat Declaration say. Here are your action points, guys. Okay. Number 1, strategies and policies that promote the well-being of individuals of planet. Okay. Now, because again, it's a WHO-led, so you will talk about a lot of sustainable development here. Okay. A lot of participatory model of learning. You will see that eventually. The importance of researching to gather evidence, which means all evidences when it comes to, say, traditional knowledge has to be scientifically research based. A lot of scientific rigor is needed. That yes, you have these kind of information there, but then they need to be put to the motions. That there are no side effects. That eventually, when you talk about integrative approach, which means Western medicine plus traditional medicine, since Western medicine comes to us after a certain benchmark, so should the traditional medicine also. Okay, nothing should reach a particular consumer unregulated or untested. That is the whole point of it. Okay, and so looking at this, go ahead and look at them one by one. You're looking at universal health coverage. More importantly, understand this here: ensuring sustainable use of natural resources. Because, well, you have the WHO that is a partner to this project, which means in the run up to Agenda 2030, SDG is a keyword. Wherever you can, so go ahead and say include the understanding of SDGs, which means when you talk about the rights of people, you talk about, say, traditional knowledge and traditional medicine, all of that has to be done sustainably. You can't go ahead and be exploiting forests and plants and animals to make medicine. That does not work. Correct, guys? Let me know in the chat. Right? So looking at digital health technologies. All of this what? Eventually to bring in the traditional medicine that has hitherto been, say, ignored or has not come to the forefront. You are going to go ahead and set all the benchmarks for traditional medicine as you have for Western medicine. Right? Say, be it scientific research, testing, clinical trials, all of that will be done for the traditional medicines also. Right? So look at the action points, because this eventually provides the fodder points for your mains questions or your answers. Okay? This is in fact where you find the fodder points. Okay? Right. So let's look at it now. What does the integrative medicine talk about? Number one, firstly, indigenous knowledge, the one that I discussed right now, the traditional knowledge and practices passed down through generations, essentially Dadi Ma ke nuskhe. Okay. That it is not, say, written down somewhere. Okay. Or even if it is written down, the methodologies may be different. Okay. Some places in that kadha, you might have, say, ginger being used. Some places ginger may not be being used. Right. So you need to go ahead and refer to that as indigenous knowledge. Now what does TCIM say, which is traditional, complementary and integrative medicine? Essentially all the wide range of healthcare practices and systems, including traditional medicines like Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, herbal medicine, okay, acupuncture, Unani, Siddha, all of that. Sowa Rigpa. Okay, you have another one called, very important, called Sowa Rigpa. Okay, origin of Tibet. Okay, then you have, say, Ayurveda, you have Unani, Siddha. All of these have to be included in this traditional knowledge, the traditional medicine that we talk about. And integrative medicine, the name gives it away. Integration is addition, which means you're looking at Western medicine plus traditional medicine. One way to just quickly remember it, you're combining elements of TCIM with conventional Western medicine to provide a holistic approach to healthcare. Correct? Ritesh, good morning, welcome. Okay. And what does biodiversity mean? Well, Environment 101, guys, closely linked to indigenous knowledge. Why? Because all these communities have developed extensive knowledge about local ecosystems. The usage of plant and animal species. The viper example that I just gave you, that's a part of the local ecosystem. That's a part of the knowledge that the local indigenous people have. That's something that you and I will never know about unless and until we are, say, eventually told about it, or if it is, say, written down in some form, right? For that product to reach us, it has to meet certain standards. It has to go through a certain procedure, which is what integrative medicine is all about. Using, say, biodiversity sustainably, right? Okay. Let's look at the questions, my dear students. Number one, Sowa Rigpa, a system of traditional medicine that originated in the state of Tamil Nadu. Statement B, Sowa Rigpa uses forms of pulse analysis and urinalysis to treat illnesses. You will go ahead and identify the correct statements. Meanwhile, if you go ahead and say quickly, if I were to give you a small homework, look at, say, Unani, you look at Siddha, look at Ayurveda, or you could save all the effort and straight away head over to the Ministry of Ayush website and have a look at it. If you quickly want to go ahead and complete your understanding of this particular topic, this is the best bet. Or if you want, I can give you concise notes too. You will have to let me know though. Right. Question E. National Institute of Ayurveda, is it in Jaipur? National Institute of Homeopathy, Kolkata. National Institute of Unani, is it in Bengaluru? And National Institute of Siddha, whether it is in Chennai. Okay. Let me know which of the above are correctly matched. Correct? Okay. All right. Before I move forward, guys, if you understood the two topics, more importantly, if you understood the concepts that I'm trying to introduce, quickly go ahead and leave me a like. I would really appreciate that because, well, as an educator, that's the only motivation I have, that I go ahead and serve my students and that I gain some sort of, say, a minor recognition from my students. All right. So I'd be really grateful if you could consider going ahead and leaving me a like. Meanwhile, if you want to go ahead and if you have any particular doubts for me, this is my Instagram handle. Do connect. I'll be more than happy to address your doubts. Okay. Black Sea Grain Initiative has been in the news. Last topic, very quickly, we'll get it done. Now, this initiative between, well, Russia, Ukraine, brokered by Turkey. Turkey was the initial negotiator that got these two parties to come together to agree to the Black Sea Grain Initiative. What does this initiative talk about? Okay. Talks about the commercial food and fertilizer export, okay, from 3 key Ukrainian ports. And why is the Black Sea Grain Initiative important? Number one, firstly, it serves both the countries equally. Okay, you're looking at Russians who benefit out of this. You're looking at the Ukrainians who send their grains to, say, Africa and Asia and beyond. Now, Russia pulled out of it. Russia was not happy with, say, the certain promises that were not kept. Okay, so we'll seek to understand. The UN brokered deal allowed cargo ships from the Ukrainian ports to pass through the Black Sea, and safe passage was being provided, which means, again, these were not to be disturbed. Okay, inspected. If they were carrying, say, non-prohibited goods, go ahead. Safe passage provided in spite of the crisis that is taking place. Okay. Now, in terms of Black Sea, 2-3 things that you should be aware of. Number one, firstly, look at the rivers that drain into Black Sea. Okay, the initiative is quite easy to understand, but in terms of what a student is expected to know, the rivers that drain into the Black Sea has certain straits around it. For example, the Kerch Strait, the Bosphorus Strait, go ahead, Strait of Dardanelles. Have a look at which strait connects what. Okay. Thereafter, understand, say, the major rivers. Like I told you, you have, say, for example, you have the Dnieper River. Okay, majorly in the news. Why? Because you had a recent dam that was damaged, leading to large-scale flooding, right? You are looking at another river that is the Danube. We have done that extensively in the past. It originates in the Black Forest region of which country, my dear students? Where is the Black Forest region? Let me know very quickly in the chat. Mithali, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome guys. The Black Forest region of a particular country is where the Danube originates. And finally, follows a dendritic pattern of drainage, eventually drains into the Black Sea off the coast of Romania. Okay, so look at the countries that go ahead and border Black Sea. If you have these 3 information at your fingertips, your Black Sea preparation is more or less done. Okay, which will essentially mean that your Black Sea Grain Initiative is also equally done. All right, so let's go ahead and look at it one by one. Russia pulled out of this entire deal. Why did it pull out? Because, well, ammonia exports from Russia were not allowed. Okay, and at the same time, this banking system that we know of, this SWIFT banking system, okay, if you have been following the news, the SWIFT banking system is this real-time banking system that Russia has been thrown out of, okay, led by the, say, Western nations, and Russia has been wanting to get back into it. Why? Because its banks are suffering, okay, which means its financial position, which was anyways precarious, has now been hit directly, okay. So that was the primary objection from Russia. Let's look at Black Sea, guys. Bound by Ukraine to the north, Russia and Georgia to the east, Turkey to the south, Bulgaria and Romania to the west. Very quickly, look at the countries that I have for you. Okay, you're looking at Georgia, Turkey, Bulgaria, Romania, Ukraine, and eventually you have Russia on the one side. Okay, now Why is this important? It links the Sea of Marmara through the Bosphorus Strait. The straits that I told you, I've done your homework for you. Have a look at it. The Black Sea links to the Sea of Marmara through the Bosphorus Strait and to the Aegean Sea through the Strait of Dardanelles. Okay, both of them being straits. There is one more strait there which is called the Kerch Strait. Okay, to which it is connected to Sea of Azov. All right. So the three straits have been done for you, my dear students. Make sure that you go through them after the class. The mapping is important. Now, Russia's primary gateway has been Black Sea. Okay. And gateway to what? To the Mediterranean, to Europe. Which means whoever controls Black Sea controls a buffer zone. And you know that the buffer zone is of prime importance. Okay. Everyone wants to gain a buffer zone. Which means this Black Sea acts as the buffer between NATO and itself. It showcases the Russian power in the Mediterranean and to secure, more importantly, the economic gateway. Right? Okay. Let's look at the questions, guys, very quickly about Black Sea. Is it a marginal sea or not? What is a marginal sea? If you have been following your NCRTs, if you have been doing your geography lessons well, this concept is very easy to gather. Okay. River Volga, Danube and Dnieper drain into the Black Sea. True or false? Statement C. Kerch Strait separates Black Sea from the Sea of Azov and the Strait of Dardanelles connects Black Sea to the Mediterranean Sea. May I suggest, go ahead, spend 15 minutes but complete the mapping around Black Sea. Alright. The three things that you should look out for, I have mentioned here. Alright. You are going to look at rivers. You are going to look at countries. Okay. And number 3, what else are you going to look at, guys? Bataiye mujhe. The straits. Okay. Quickly go ahead, map them together and your Black Sea conversation is done. Right? All right. That concludes today's session. 3 topics, 40 odd minutes. That's the whole point of Editorial Edge. Okay. The Black Sea Grain Initiative, picked directly from the Indian Express. Have a look at that article. It will complete whatever the fill in the blanks insofar as the understanding is concerned. All right. Answer the questions for me. You will see eventually with the small homework that I give you and the questions that are here, your topic is done. Okay. And eventually to clear your prelims, you need mastery in topics, the ability to solve questions. Go ahead, give it a shot. All right. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, same time, 6:30 a.m. with another set of important topics. And we'll seek to understand. Well, ideally, I could have gone ahead and done the whole Bharat versus India discussion today. But let's let the dust settle a bit. Okay. We'll seek to understand that holistically tomorrow. Right from, say, the caves and the inscriptions, the Hathi Gumpa inscription in Odisha. It talks about, you must have, again, in your WhatsApp group, you must have heard about, say, the Hathi Gumpa inscription already come. Okay. Then it talks about Bharata. So we'll seek to understand what does the Hathi Gumpa inscription say. Who was King Kharvel? All of that will be done in tomorrow's class. Okay, we'll let the dust settle down on a bit, to that on a bit. Okay, Karuna, you're absolutely correct. Black Forest is in Germany. Okay, okay. We'll see you tomorrow morning, guys. If you have any particular feedback, let me know in the comment box. And well, before going, very quickly, leave me a like, guys. Please, that's all I ask of you. I request of you. I implore you. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.